Yes, well, might as well get this one out of the way as soon as possible. Get Hard stars Will Ferrell, who many people know from the Anchorman movies or Talladega Nights, and also more recently the Lego Movie. It also stars Kevin Hart, who many people know from stand-up comedy and such awe-inspiring movies as The Wedding Ringer and Ride Along. The story to the movie is that James King, played by Will Ferrell, is a hedge fund billionaire who is convicted of fraud, and the judges want to make an example out of him, so they sentence him for the maximum term, which is 10 years in prison. Now, because the American legal system is slightly different to it is over here, he's given a little bit of time about before he goes inside, fearing the things that may happen to him within prison. He gets Darnell, played by Kevin Hart, to teach him how to survive in prison. Now, this is a very awkward movie to talk about at this time of the day. I shall discuss as to why that is as best I can shortly, but I shall say first and foremost that this movie is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. If you've seen the trailers, that pretty much gives you a good enough example of what kind of movie it is, its tone, and the angle that it's going to take with it. If it's the kind of movie that you like and you're interested in, then by all means go and see it. It probably is right up your avenue, but for people like me who find these movies utterly droll and uninteresting, I found it utterly droll and uninteresting. It is just your typical 21st century American comedy movie. Lots of shouting and waving the arms, lots of flat improv, jokes that go on way too long and often fall utterly flat after the first line. It really is just that and very little else. The story goes absolutely nowhere interesting, and as a whole entity, it's rather awkward to watch due to a controversy surrounding it. And this is the point where I address the elephant in the room with this, is that over the past few weeks there's been much written about it due to allegations of racism and homophobic humour within it. To that I say that this is the typical American 21st century comedy movie where those kind of jokes are just typical of it. Even though they do it in quote-unquote ironic ways, it's still rather uncomfortable to watch. I have no issue with politically incorrect humour so long as it's good humour, and the humour within this really, really isn't. I found it very, very awkward to actually sit through. Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart have tried to defend the movie, saying that it is a social satire, that they are trying to bring all that down to a new level and to ridicule the racists and the homophobes, but sadly this kind of humour is just way too prevalent within American comedy and a lot of comedy at the moment. It is rather, for my tastes, fairly uninteresting, very awkward at times to watch. I can't even begin to discuss things that make up the very DNA of this movie, given the time of day that we're on. I would say to avoid it at all costs. If you're at all interested in it, maybe wait out until it's on DVD or some online streaming service. I can't say that this is a must-see movie, and it's a real shame to see Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart waste their time with this movie. They're both funny at what they do individually, and together they do have something resembling a spark. They do play off each other fairly well. It's just a shame that they're delivering fairly awkward material in a fairly awkward movie, I'm afraid to say. It's done fairly well at the box office, that has to be said, so there is an audience for it, and people who do like it have enjoyed it. For your average person like me, I didn't like it, and it is a shame to see both these people in it, because it should be a lot more clever than it is. It should be a lot more biting than it is. Both Ferrell and Hart have said that this is a satire of racist and homophobic behaviours, but it doesn't feel like that. So it feels like someone trying to be satirical and edgy, but then it just feels like people just saying naughty words for 100 minutes, which I really can't stomach, and I really am just disappointed by it. I can't get angry with it, I can't rant and rave about it as I could do, but sadly, I'm just really disappointed in it. The weird thing is that Get Hard is supposed to be making him harder. They're supposed to be toughing him up. But at the same time, that recalls to my mind Get Santa or Get Claus, whatever the name was, which was one of the first movies I reviewed on this station, which has a similar kind of plot. That movie was about Father Christmas. due to wacky shenanigans going to prison. There's a joke in this which is almost beat for beat the same as it, which is, oh, show me your mean face, show your mad dog face. In the Get Santa movie, it's just a short in-and-out joke. It's actually fairly funny. Here it just drags on a little bit too long, and it just feels like, oh dear, if the Get Santa movie, which I was really iffy about at the time, is a better movie than this, and this is two of the biggest comedians on the planet, blimey Charlie.